everybody. I'm just getting myself kind of set up here. I was having some technical difficulties with my internet, so now I am here. Only a few minutes late, but still. Hello! I see one person on, so I'm super excited to be here with you guys tonight. Specifically because it's the full moon tonight, so that's pretty exciting. So if you didn't know that, if maybe, you know, you're somebody who doesn't really know what's going on with the moon, it's the full moon tonight, so that's really, it's a big, exciting thing, for a lot of us because, one, it's like just, there's a ton of energy, right? If you're somebody who happens to be in sales, really applied kind of thing is like, tends to be a good day for sales, but a lot of us have been feeling a lot of extreme energy in the past, since the last moon phase until now. So I personally am very excited that it is the full moon tonight because I'm like, thank God. I want to be done with this whole cycle that we've been having. And we also have some other shifts in the universe too. If you know anything about astrology and nodes, we just shifted into the nodes, moved into, the North Node moved into Leo. So that's kind of a cool thing too. So it's going to be a really good time to, you know, be courageous, to step out, to, you know, really like get things done. So that's going to be good for a lot of us. So it's very exciting things, and these things happen to kind of be at the same time. So happy flower moon. Happy flower full moon. So, okay, so let's get into it. If you are here with me, I see there's 22 people, which is funny because it's an angel number, and we're going to talk about numbers later on in this live. But just say hi, let me know where you're from. Let me know if you know, you have experienced any type of signs in your life, because that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So, oh my gosh, I don't know, somebody must have an updated version of their Facebook, because I just saw a flower float by, which I didn't even know was an option. So apparently that's new. So for the flower moon, I'm guessing. So if you have, you know, ever experienced any type of sign in your life, let me know what you thought that sign was and maybe what you thought that sign meant. Like I see 33, we got 33 people on, another angel number of mine. So obviously we're going to talk about, oh, Mexico City, welcome. We're going to talk about numbers. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of other stuff. So while you guys are commenting and letting me know where you're from, or, you know, if you've ever experienced any type of certain signs or things that you think are signs, or maybe questioning our signs, we're just going to kind of start from like the basics. So, oh, namaste to you too. So the universe, or angels, or higher self, I like to think of all of these things as kind of different interpretations of the same thing, right? Like all along the lines of there's an energy. There's an energy and there's something that exists that we can't see, right? And you guys know this to be true because you wouldn't have landed here or, you know, be on a healing crystal page if you didn't think there was some sort of energy somewhere in the universe that you can't necessarily explain but does somehow exist, right? So all in all, there's this energy that exists. And whatever you call it is whatever you call it, and that's fine by me. If you want to call it sparkles, or fairies, or unicorns, or, I don't know, anything that you want to call it, it's all there to support you. So, the higher, you know, energies, whatever you call them, they're out there to guide us through our lives, because there's some sort of greater knowledge that is being handed to us and provided to us to kind of help us learn and navigate through this realm that we're living in, and that we're all trying to, you know, basically do something great in, right? Essentially, everybody's trying to do something in their lives that they feel good about, that makes them feel or resonate with love, or that makes them feel connected to other people, that makes them feel like they're living their life purpose, right? And so that alone, as a human, can be a hard thing to try to navigate. But luckily, you're not ever really doing it alone. Whatever that higher guidance system is, I usually just call it higher guidance system or universe, whatever that is trying to help you navigate that by providing you some signs, okay? By providing you some information, by providing you some knowledge that maybe you don't have right now, right? I like to think of, this, coming to, I don't know, I like to think of this like kind of coming to earth as like, we get this choice of like the lessons that we get to learn when we're here. We get this like grand choice and we're like, okay, this is the lessons I want to learn when I'm here. And then we come here and we have to learn those lessons, or we have to navigate those things, or we have to find our life purpose, right? And that's not an easy thing to do, but it's really kind of this like master assignment, right? Aside from, your basic needs, love, shelter, food, water, the things that we want and our ego wants, which is like success and money and all these things. Aside from that, there's this like master assignment. And the master assignment is like, you have lessons to learn, let's learn them. So these signs that kind of come up, you might have seen signs as numbers, as symbols, as animals. We'll talk about a whole bunch of other ones. These signs are there to kind of get us to like focus in, and they usually have little nuggets of information that says like, hey, pay, do this or pay attention to this. And those signs will generally try to capture our attention until we realize there's a message that we should be learning, right? So say you are, walking through your life and you're like, man, I feel really disconnected from my higher self, and I don't know what my purpose is, and I'm feeling like I'm at the point now where I really want to find what that purpose is, or I hear people talking about life purpose and what is that, and I want to find out what that is. And then I wake up in the morning, and I wake up at 11:11, okay? And I see on the clock there's 11:11. Now, if you're waking up at 11:11, you're lucky because you just slept in my world. Like that would never be an occurrence in my world. But say you happen to wake up at 11:11, you look at the clock and you're like, okay, And then later in the day, you check the clock and you happen to just glance at it and it's 1:11, right? And then later in the day, you happen to be in your car and you turn the radio channel to, 111.1. And that's a song that you like. And you start to notice like, whoa, this is kind of weird. I've seen this multiple times in the same day where I wasn't looking for that. It just happened to catch my eye, and it was just like an unconscious thing, a subconscious thing. It's like, it's there, and you're like, huh, okay, I'm going to keep going, right? And then the next day, you happen to see this number again in a bunch of places. Oh, now you've seen it on a license plate, right? Now you've seen it on the clock again. Now you've seen it all these different places. Maybe it's a price tag. And you're like, huh, what the heck? Why is everything seeming to be that same number? What is going on? You could say something is trying to get your attention, right? Something is trying to give you a nugget of information and saying, hey, pay attention to this, right? And so that sign in that specific way is going to keep coming up, and maybe keep coming up in different, different ways, but that same number, that synchronicity, that same thing is happening, right? And so there's a bit of information that says, okay, the number's 1, anything that has to do with 1 has to do with creation, has to do with uniqueness, has to do with ambition, has to do with life purpose, has to do with the angels supporting you. So you happen to be searching out for your life purpose, and then you happen to see these numbers. They're saying, yes, we're here, we're trying to help you pursue this thing, okay? So signs can come in all sorts of different forms and fashion, but the idea is that higher guidance system is trying to give you a nugget of information to lead you through your life, or to help you down a path that's going to be the best suited for you, or to help you in a time of need or turmoil or grieving or, whatever it is, that there's information there. And that is something that you can take from. So a lot of times when we see signs, it's something somebody else wouldn't understand, but you understand it, okay? So numbers have always been something for me that have always caught my eye, and it's like the angels know, Jen's going to pay attention to that. Jen's going to see that, right? So that's where I get a lot of my information, as I get it through numbers, because I'm going to pay attention to that. They know, higher guidance system, angels, whatever you want to call it, they know what's going to be the best suited to reach you, right? So there's 55 people on this live right now, and I know 5 is a number for manifestation. I'm like, okay, angels, I got you. I got the message, right? I'm manifesting right now. So whatever that way is for you, that's where the signs are going to come. And other people might not understand what those signs are for you, but you understand them, okay? So a lot of times what we'll see is people who end up seeing animals that really maybe aren't necessarily common in their area, but say they had a loved one that like loved this animal, and this animal happened to just all of a sudden start coming around, right? This loved one maybe passed over. Like for me, it's cardinals. Cardinals, they're not necessarily the most popular thing in my area, but I happen to live on my family's land, and all of my ancestors have lived on this land, and cardinals have been a significant thing in my family, so they happen to hang around. Now, if I said that to somebody else, I said, man, these cardinals are like all over the place, they'd be like, what are you talking about? And they wouldn't necessarily understand, because it's something that is specific to you that you're going to see and you're going to understand. And that thing's going to keep popping up until it gets your attention, or you pay attention to it. Now, you get to interpret that, right? And so interpreting that is the fun part, for me at least. It's kind of like it's like decoding. It's like being like this detective, right? So say I go outside and I happen to find a feather, and I happen to find another feather the next day, and I happen to find another feather the next day, and they all kind of look the same, and I'm like, okay, this is weird. Like, I walked outside and there's a feather, and this is true stuff for me. This is how I got into this, actually. So I walked out my back door, and I like, there's this feather right at my feet, and I'm like, okay, what's that? So I pick it up, and I take it in the house, and then I walk out the front door the next day, and that same feather is there, and I'm like, what the heck? Bring that one in the house. The next day I walk out the back door. That feather, another feather. Walk out the front door. There's another feather. It's like, okay, Jen, pay attention. We're trying to tell you something, okay? And so now you have all these feathers, and you're like, this cannot be a coincidence. This is starting to get kind of strange, okay? So I look up, feathers, looking for pictures, trying to find the bird that this feather belongs to. And I happen to find out that it's a dove feather, okay? So now I have these dove feathers, and I say, okay, let me do a little research. Let me Google here. Let me see if I can figure out, like, what kind of symbolism, what's going on with doves? What's going on with doves? So I start looking up doves and start trying to figure out, what does a dove mean? What's the meaning of this? So I find out that doves are linked to being a mother or nurturing. And at that time, it was right after I had a kid. So it was like, the universe is saying, like, Jen, you're doing your job. You're providing for your kid. We're here to support you. And I'm like, thank you. I got the sign, right? Now, do I have doves that like to hang around here now? Occasionally. But I don't find the feathers that much anymore. Because right now, that would not be something that, I need guidance on, right? It was something at the time that was very significant to me, that I was like, this was a huge transition in my life, and man, like, anytime you have a kid, you need some support, And the universe was like, okay, here you go. We got your back. We got your back, So it's stuff that you're going to get that maybe somebody else wouldn't get. So let's talk about a few other types of signs that might pop up. Let me go through the comments here. Yeah, repetitive numbers, absolutely. 444. I was just talking about that with somebody else the other day. Really good numbers, yeah. And cardinals. Yeah, cardinals, absolutely. My cardinals are my grandparents too. So when I see them, I'm always like, oh, grandma and grandpa. And sometimes I'll just be, washing my hands in the sink, and I'll look out the window and they're right there, and they'll look at me. And I'm like, Last time I checked, cardinals don't look right at people, so these things are significant to you, okay? So let's talk about a few other signs. Besides feathers and birds, really birds, guys, for me, that's very significant. I have always been connected to birds my whole life. I mean, as long as I can remember, I always was fascinated by them. We have a plethora of, all sorts of things in our backyard, but they never started to come around until I started to do this kind of work. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the wildlife, it just blew up. I mean, like, there are hawks, we have frogs. I've never seen frogs before in our yard, all sorts of stuff. And they're clearly there to bring signs. We find hawk feathers everywhere. So, very significant things. Now, birds in general, specifically the bigger birds, are said to be like messengers from spirit, like direct messengers. So anytime you find a feather, especially if it's repetitive, especially if it's something that makes sense to you or something that seems like there's kind of synchronicity there, make sure that you pay attention to that and try to look it up if you can. I have a huge guide on birds and every single feather and what it means. I'm not going to go through that tonight because it's like pretty intensive. But generally, like hawks' feathers are to do with the life path, like what path you're on. Last summer, I would go out every single day and I would walk the backfield every single day, and I knew I was on the right path if I found a hawk feather every single day. And so if I'm off path and my ego's taking the wheel, I know I'm not going to find a feather because it's like, nope, get out of that territory. You got to go this way. Okay? So it's a personal sign to me, but generally the bigger birds are like they call them like the messengers from God, right? Bigger, the bigger the size. Eagles, owls are like messengers of the night. So generally if you are a more feminine person, or you need to bring in the feminine aspect of yourself, or you are somebody who does your best work at night in your dream realm, that's definitely me too. Owls will tend to show up for you, or you'll see imagery of owls and be like really sucked into it. So any feathers from any of those birds, or literally seeing those birds, has a meaning, okay? If you need a book on this, where is it? Somewhere on my bookshelf. Animal Speak, Ted Andrews, I think it is. He's amazing, and literally you'll find every animal in there. It's really great. Hummingbirds, I see somebody comment about hummingbirds. You'll find it in there. It's like everything down to like, bunnies, woodchucks. I mean, everything's in there. Beavers. We all of a sudden we have a beaver. I've never seen a beaver in my life, and apparently we have one now. So, it's coming out of nowhere. I'm like, these animals know that I am here and I'm going to protect them, and because I've never seen this many animals like on this land ever in my life. So, and we have a whole family of turkeys. We have about 40 of them. We have a family of turkeys. We have deer. We have a beaver. We have woodchucks. We have cardinals. We have blue jay. I mean, everything. Hawks. I mean, it's everywhere. Frogs. I mean, it's crazy. I've never seen a frog here, ever. Till last year. Frogs. But that was a sign for me, too. So, another thing you might see is pennies. Like the old, what is it, saying, pennies from heaven, in the song Pennies from Heaven. That is really something that is a sign. If you happen to find pennies, they say generally it's like a maternal, like a paternal, maternal energy, like could be like a grandparent's, grandfather type of a thing. So I always go to visit my grandparents' graves, and I find pennies all over the place. And I say, I call my family, I say, hey, have you guys been like here? Did you come to the grave and leave like pennies or anything? And they're like, no, what are you talking about? And last time I was there was about like 13 or 14 of them. A lot of them, okay? So pennies, generally, those tend to be like almost like directly to people that that have passed. Like animals, we've already mentioned that. Numbers we'll talk about that a little bit more as it goes back to 55 viewers. So cool how that happens. I'm like, every time I say numbers, it goes back to an angel number. Hello! I know I just see somebody join that I just love. Songs, lyrics and songs. If you happen to have a certain song come on, like, at very pivotal points in your life, that is absolutely a sign. My song is Here Comes the Sun. Anytime I am struggling, anytime anything is going on, that song comes on. I could be in a store, I could be in my car, I could be like walking out of a place and it will come on, absolutely. So lyrics in a song, specifically lyrics that are talking to a situation that you're going through. Colors, if you happen to, throughout a day, see a lot of significant things with specific colors, or kind of catch colors like in the, kind of like your periphery, like your, you know, some like you walk by something and you kind of catch a color, that is significant. And or symbols, and these kind of maybe kind of go together, or kind of like, you know, that twinkly light kind of thing that happens every once in a while. Not like when you like lift your head too fast, not like that, but like if you walk by an area and you kind of feel a presence, or you like kind of see out of the corner of your eye like a little bit of like white light or something like that, that can be a sign. And there's tons of other ones that I did not mention in between. But a lot of times, guys, these signs, it's like they'll come in like odd places, or like, okay, if a feather shows up in my room out of nowhere and I don't have a down comforter and I don't have pillows that have any of that stuff in it, where did that come from? Like my husband, I'll tell you a story about him. He found a dove feather in his pocket the other day. Like he like found a, like he told me he found it. He showed it to me. I don't know if it's a dove feather, but it's the prettiest feather I've ever seen. But he's like, I just pulled this feather out of my pocket, and the same day I was at his parents' house and literally almost walked onto a dove feather. So I was like, huh, right? Like, why would there be a dove feather in his pocket? Right? Somewhere that is unexpected, kind of strange, you know, kind of out of the blue. Constantly seeing a name, Karen says, absolutely, absolutely. It could be somebody trying to, like, reach you from the other side, or it could be a spirit guide. So let's talk about, well, let's get into what these signs could come from. So as I said earlier, it could be just, you know, you could call anything that's a higher guidance system than you, a higher guidance system. You could call it the universe, you can call it angels, you can call it whatever. But from my own understanding and my own beliefs, this doesn't have to be what you accept or adopt or resonate with. There are different kind of categories of areas where these signs come from, okay? So past loved ones, that's always a nice one. You know, it's nice to know that that person still feels you, or still knows you, or still is looking out for you, or especially if it was something where, you know, there was a lot of grieving, to know that they're okay. And so that person generally will try to give signs in a way that you're going to understand it really simply. Say that person loved dragonflies, and, you know, you see a dragonfly kind of go past your face. You might say, okay, that person's saying, like, I'm okay, I'm good, or, you know, I'm watching out for you, or whatever it is. And acknowledge that. So before I move further, I want to say the way that you can start to turn up the volume on these things happening, and the amount on these things happening, is by acknowledging and saying, I see you. I see you, I feel you, I hear you, I understand what you're saying, angels. Okay, I'm listening. You know, whatever it is, and say it out loud. Say it out loud. You know, this makes a lot of sense to me. Thank you for that little tidbit of information. Whatever you got to say thank you, I'm understanding, say it. Because the more that you trust, the more that you believe, the more that you know, become a part of this process, the more you'll receive of it. You know, like I said, every single day I went outside and found hawk feathers. Every single day. Right? And I said, okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. And magnify that gratitude, because that stuff will keep coming to you. and will keep providing you information. But when you start to move into the area of doubt and not really believing it, or you're like, I see this, and then I'm questioning it, that's when you get into a territory where it's going to kind of like start to turn down the volume, because they're like, oh, well, she doesn't really understand, you know? Or that's just going to keep coming up until you see it and look at it and say, okay, I believe. Like, I do believe. But if you kind of, even now, to yourself, like everybody who's watching, say, you know, I believe and I want to see signs, angels, past loved ones, other entities we're going to talk about, please provide me with signs that I will understand. And you say it like that, I will understand, then you're going to receive that stuff. Now, you may receive a sign that you can't understand, and that's okay. You can say, angels, higher self, universe, can you please provide me with a sign that will help with clarity? Because I don't understand, okay? Having that open-ended kind of conversation, literally like you're talking to somebody else, is very important. Because eventually, you know, you might get a sign that you're like, I don't really understand that. You know, like for me, seeing the twinkles out of the side of my eye, I'm like, okay, that is not the best way to reach me, because I can't really interpret that super well in my own personal, you know, life, in my own opinion. That's not something I can interpret well. So if I'm like, I'm seeing these twinkles, I know somebody or some entity is near me, but that doesn't really give me that much information. I can say, hey, Grandpa, is that you? Or, hey, is this a past loved one that's trying to come through? Please clarify. I don't understand. It's okay not to understand. You know, please clarify. But being accepting to this and believing and that trust is going to make that support system the universe is trying to provide you with even stronger and even more, okay? So let's go back to other entities that might try to provide you information. So we got past loved ones, and what else did we mention? Past loved ones and angels. We've kind of talked a little bit about angels. So angels could be angels. This could be archangels. I'm also going to include in this, but also a separate category, what we call ascended masters. Okay, ascended masters are people like Buddha, you know, like Jesus, like, you know, people who brought high spiritual teachings might try to come through and bring you a sign. Your personal spirit guides. Your personal spirit guides. And those may or may not be loved ones. A lot of people think like my spirit guides are loved ones. A lot of times they're not. You may have additional, you know, people who stay with you that were loved ones that are like your earth guides. But generally your spirit guides are there to guide you through your whole life, you know, regardless of your existence on the earth or not on the earth. And there's different kind of categories for this. We're not going to get too far into it, but just know that these signs can come from all sorts of different people who are trying to reach you, basically, and get your attention. So it's pretty cool, and when you get into it, I'm going to do a coaching program this next coming on the 22nd, and we're going to go through finding who are my spirit guides, who are the ascended masters trying to get a hold of me, and we're like literally going to, you know, have that kind of open relationship start to be kind of created. So it's pretty cool when you get to like literally meet your spirit guides and meet the things that are supporting you, other than just the universal, you know. And then you're like, oh, that's my spirit guide named Kurt. That's what my spirit guide's name. So, and when I met him, I was like, this is the coolest experience. People are going to think I'm nuts. And I'm like, I don't care. Because I know to me that that's my truth, and that's fine. And so, you know, if something's going on, I might get a little nugget of information. I'm like, oh, okay, I know who that came from because now I have that personal relationship there. So any of these number of things can kind of come in and guide you through your life. You might think of like fairies, if anybody's like into like the fairy kind of thing. All different kind of things. There's so many, like if you look up like Doreen Virtue's cards, you know, anything that's on a Doreen Virtue card could probably, shout out to Doreen Virtue, because we're going to actually pull little cards. Yes, animal totems, absolutely. Animal totems as well. And you'll have animal totems, most likely one that will stick with you through your whole life, and that's another thing in my course. And some that will come in and out for specific reasons. So things have, certain entities will stay with you throughout your whole life, most likely because they are somebody that is, or something that is helping you through your whole life, purpose, through your whole path, through everything. And then others will kind of come in when you need them, and when they want to provide you with information, and then they'll kind of, be out of there. So absolutely. So let me just kind of go through. Yeah. Feathers, pennies, yeah, animal totems, dreams. Absolutely. If you are somebody who does a lot of your work in the dream realm, or you have very vivid dreams, signs can absolutely come through in your dreams. That happens to me a lot of times, and more in symbols. And symbols are definitely something to pay attention to. I'm not going to go too much into them, but different symbols can, like, I one time I had like a craziest like download in my dream, and I was like mind blown. I was like, there's so much information, I don't even know what to do with this. And it came from a symbol. So symbols, definitely pay attention to them. Now, colors, I want to just mention quick before we move. If you find colors kind of specifically in your dreams, then pay attention to those, because sometimes they can be for a specific angel or archangel that is identified with that color, or a chakra that needs some help, okay? Okay. I'm just reading comments here. Okay, so your mom's coming through in your dreams, and you don't know what she's trying to tell me. So, Mimi, ask your mom right now. Say, Mom, come through tonight and be more clear. I don't understand. Please provide me with information in this way. You guys can say that. If you say numbers reach me the best, provide me with numbers, they're listening. It's a conversation. So you say, Mimi, you say, okay, Mom, this is the way that I'm going to understand. Can you give me an animal totem in my dream? Or can you give me a number? Or can you talk to me in my dream so I know what you're trying to say? Yeah, numbers. Okay, so we're going to go through numbers really quick. What if you can't remember your dreams? Yes. I think Jasper is a dream recall crystal, so perhaps put some Jasper under your pillow. You might have to find a crystal that's going to be like the perfect mix for you, because sometimes with dreams it could be like, I've heard of people using Herkimer diamond, and for me I couldn't use it for a while, so you're going to have to kind of play with it. Keep a dream journal by your bedside. Write it down. Now my phone is going to die, so I'm going to take you guys all the way upstairs with me as we keep talking, because I don't want to get cut off on you guys. So yeah, keep a bedside journal, because you might have dreams where you absolutely remember, and then you might have other ones that, go away like the second you wake up. So if you keep a journal right by your bedside table, write it down, okay? Write it down. Okay, let me just get myself all plugged in here, and then we'll be good. And then, yeah, rose quartz for self-love. If you tend to have, if you want more of that family relationship stuff to come through in your dreams, try some rose quartz. But I always say with the dream stuff, sometimes you just got to find the perfect mix for yourself, because some of them might keep you awake, and some of them might, make you really, really so sleepy you can't remember your dreams. And I find personally, and from my own experience, that's a very personal thing that you're going to have to figure out what the mix is. I personally have been sleeping with labradorite, and it is working wonders, because I was not sleeping well, because the angels were trying to communicate with me too much in my sleep, and I was like, not getting sleep. So I'm like, I start to work with that, so it's like preventing, too much activity for me. But that might not be something that would work for somebody else. So test it out with that. I'm very leery of making specific suggestions for that. But I know that Jasper is known to help you remember your dreams. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about numbers quick. Let me just read this comment. Okay, so same thing, Giselle. Ask him what he's trying to tell you. Because you guys, like I said, you might get signs that you don't understand, and that's when you can say, I need clarification here. It's okay not to understand. or hey, angel, or hey, past loved one, can you please provide me with something I can understand in the form of, literally say what you want to see. For me, I do not want to see somebody that has passed. That would freak me out. Straight up. I am scared of that. And I have told past loved ones, do not show up to me like as a person. If I see that, I will probably run the opposite way. It freaks me out. Okay? So don't do it. Come somewhere else. Come as a bird. Come in a dream, you know. I specifically say. Okay. Let me just read and then yes. Okay, let's talk about 1111. Okay, so let's go through numbers really quick. I'm just going to pick out a few. I'm not going to go through the entire thing. I'm going to pick out the most common and the ones that you guys have commented on tonight. So 1 is the number of beginnings, creation, uniqueness, ambition, life purpose. So generally, and also kind of the number of the angels. So if the angels are trying to like communicate with you, do your life purpose, you're going to see 1111, you're going to see 11, 111. And it can either mean you are doing your life purpose or you need to be doing your life purpose. Okay, so that's for you to interpret in your specific situation. Okay, so like, if you're working a job that you hate and you're like, I don't think that this doesn't feel good anymore, and you keep seeing this, that would be an indicator that it's time. It's time for you to find your life purpose and start doing it. Or a lot of times you'll see it, it's just saying, hey, you're on the right track. Okay, so that's for you to interpret. Let's do 3s. 3 is my number. It was one of the first psychic experiences that I had was with that specific number from somebody who was passed, and that was a piece of information I got. So, and also with numerology, very significant number for me. So 3 is for creativity, for speech, for manifestation, and ascended masters. So if you are somebody who the ascended masters are working with directly, 3 is going to be something you see all the time. You might see 33, 333, just 13, whatever. Or you might see, say, the angels are working with you and the angels happen to be ascended masters. You might see 1133, right? Or 133, okay? 5, number of freedom, individualism, change, and life lessons and choices. So if you're somebody who's seeing a lot of 5s, life choices. Time for you to choose a path, choose a way to go, okay? 2s, we got somebody who requested 2s. Being of service, balance, harmony, divine purpose, and mission. So really doing something that is of service that's going to make your life feel fulfilled, okay? I think somebody requested 4s. So practicality, organization, service, patience, and archangels. So archangels with the number 4. Yep, okay, so Shelly, that was for you. So perfect timing to... So now that synchronicity, that I happen to be reading 4s because I said somebody requested 4s, and Shelly, you literally commented as I was saying to 4s. I'm thinking the archangels are trying to tell you something. Please pay attention to that. Or they will keep making it come up. I'm telling you, they're trying to work with you. Okay, what else? Let me just go up and see if I have any other numbers. Purple jasper. Okay, somebody says purple jasper is great for dreams. Thank you. Okay, let's see what other numbers we got. If you have any other signs that you've seen that I have not mentioned, please comment and let me know so I can just kind of touch on that and just take note of it too. Yeah, so we got 2s, we got 3s. Awesome. I thought I saw another number somewhere up here. Just want to make sure that 8 was the other one. So 8, let's see. Spiritual awakening, awareness, and spiritual enlightenment. So if you're somebody who is kind of maybe feeling blocked right now and it's time to like break through to that like kind of next spiritual level, you might be seeing the 8s. Yeah, hummingbirds is also a really common one, Nancy, for people to see with past loved ones because they're not very common and they don't hang around super long. But then when people pass, they tend to kind of pop up. Somebody said dragonflies. Yep, dragonflies too. Okay, I think I got all the numbers. 57, so that would be a combination of 5 and 7, the vibrations of 5 we already went through. Let's see, 7 is unconditional love, balance, harmony, home, and family. So that's a nice combination. So if you're a 5 and a 7, then that's life lessons and choices and home and family. So definitely your home and your family could be a lot to do with your purpose. So, okay, cool. I think we got through everything. Let's see. Let's just scroll down. Yep, okay, great. So we went through all the numbers I've seen. So if you're seeing multiples of a number or a combination of two numbers, it's those two vibrations combined, okay? Or magnified if it's the same number. So let's do number 9. Universal laws, karma, I can't say that. Humanitarianism, light workers. Okay. And we already did 3 and 8. So the combination of 3 and 8. So, and then we did 9 already. Yep. And the 5s. 5s we already did. So yeah. So just go back and rewind. And that if it's more than one of a number, it's that vibration that is, it's magnified. Okay. Or if it's two separate numbers, like say somebody said 619, it's the combination of the number 6 vibration, 1 and 9. Okay? So then go back and see, you have to kind of think about it a little bit when you put the numbers together. Okay? What the message is. Okay. So I think we got okay, yep, we just did number 9. So we just did number 9. Great. So if you guys are interested in learning more about this stuff, I have a course called Signology, and it's got all of this stuff. It's got stuff about your animal totems. And before this specific live, I just had this feeling like I was going to just do this crazy thing. And it came to me, and I was like, I'm going to do this. And you could say it was my angels trying to communicate with me. But I'm going to do a group coaching program on this stuff, where I'm going to take you through meeting your spirit guides, any, ascended masters that come in, your animal totems, go through specific signs with you that you need decoding, teach you how to decode this stuff, and teach you how to bring this type of thing into, if you are somebody who is a coach or a life coach, or you want to be able to help other people with this and provide this as a service, I'm going to do it as a certification. And that came to me like literally 5 minutes before I came on live. And I was like getting bugged, like, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. So there it is. So, so it's going to be basically all of what the Signology course is providing, but like extra amazingness. Really, it's going to be like the booster pack that's on top of it. So if you're interested in that, send me an email. You guys can find me anytime on my Facebook page, on Instagram. Send me messages. I love to hear from you guys and what is going on in your lives. So I love being on here. It really is just the highlight of my day every time I have a live with you guys. I'm like, yes, healing crystals, awesome people. So I'm really happy to be able to talk to you guys and provide this stuff for you guys, because healing crystals is amazing for letting us do this, and I just feel so much gratitude to be able to do this too. So, we have people like from Canada and Mexico, and how else can you connect with people like this? It's just the best thing ever. So yeah, if you have any questions on that, just send me an email. Teresa says, how much is that? That's a great question. I don't know yet. I'm going to figure that out after this. Like I said, right before I was about to go on, that's when it came to me that I needed to do this and I needed to provide this. I will probably pick an angel number in some way, shape, or form. Send me an email. I'm also going to do a scholarship, so somebody's going to win a scholarship into the program. So it's going to be awesome. One of you guys is going to get a free ride too. So oh, okay, awesome. Oh, sparrows. That's a great one. Before we go, we're going to do sparrows. So sparrows and swallows are animals that keep coming back to the same point during the year. So it's a return to home type of thing. Like the sailors used to use them. If they lost their way, they would follow them. And they're typically in barns and places where they can kind of cozy in. So definitely means something about home or family, or kind of coming home to yourself. Dreams of Vikings in the Dark Ages. You might want to check out some past life stuff. That might be something coming through. Okay. I will let you guys go for the night. I'm definitely happy to have talked to you guys and feel very much gratitude for you guys and what I can do here. So happy full moon again. Go out and manifest everything you possibly can. Like, go out and go outside. Go see the moon. If you can see it, go see it. If you can't, still go outside. Get some energy, charge up, and charge your crystals and all that good stuff, okay? I'll see you guys soon.